straight up gave up on the attempt of unified PvP balancing, and the classes in PvP are completely different. Like, yeah, it's a paladin and it has the same moves, but they all have completely different numbers,
effects
and
and things.
timings,
Okay.
and shit attached to them. Like,
Hmm.
because they ran into the issue that balancing them simultaneously is impossible. It's a problem that Destiny has had as well, where Destiny will take a gun that's really dominant in PvP and nerf it, and people that don't play competitive multiplayer in Destiny go, but that was the gun I used for the raid, and now it sucks for the raid. Why the fuck did you nerf it? I don't care about I don't care about, like, trials or whatever the fuck.
So, if you went through a lot of trouble to build your character a specific way, and then those abilities you have are garbage in the PvP, that would be really annoying.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm thinking about how, like, Pokemon, like Stadium, for example, they'd be like, "Hey, here it is. Everyone's level 50 or so. Play with a cast that's everyone's around that level, and they have more or less the default abilities, and that's the flattening of like every Pokemon that you can fight with, type of thing. But you didn't have to suffer to to get a particular gun or a particular build going, that has now been handed to you that's useless. So
I had what might be like the most, like, one of the big bullets in my heart of playing Destiny was that I decided to go get a gun called the Last Word, which was a hip fire revolver. So no aim down sights, you just fire it from the hip like an old fashioned shooter.
big show.
I went down the quest line and I, worked on it for 4 or 5 days, and I got the Last Word, and I went and played some multiplayer matches, and it was a ton of fun, and I was like, fuck yeah. And then I went on Twitter and said, dude, I just got the Last Word. This gun's a blast. And the first reply was, they're nerfing it tomorrow. And I went, what? I'm like, yeah, they're toning it down so that you have to hit with 4 bullets instead of 3 to kill. And then I played it tomorrow, and it, like, literally just wasn't the same. And I was like, I can't believe they'll do this in a game that also requires you to spend this amount of time to get the fucking item in the first place. I was so upset. And, like, I'm sure a lot of folks will say, like, it's still good. Like, that's not the point. I got to experience what it was, and I worked for the version that it was what it was. And got to play with it for 2 matches before it got nerfed into the dirt.
Yeah, good job, idiot. You fucking, just punishing you for all that time. I feel like so there was a really interesting thread that popped up on the subreddit not too long ago. That was, might have been like yesterday or so. That was like, I think it was like, I think Woolie might dig Halo Infinite, and it was footage of a dude just using the grappling hook and then sniping in midair and then grappling and then coming down with the fucking hammer. And I was like, ooh, that cool. Tingles. That tingles all the right feelings in my brain.
I don't know how to feel about Halo Infinite, because to my knowledge, that team has never made a good Halo game. It's just kind of a problem.
Wait, what did I play? What did I play that they made? No, I didn't.
Yeah, they didn't.
They started at 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't play any of theirs. Yeah.
4 is like middling, and then 5 is so bad that when they said we're bringing every Halo game to PC, they're like, including Infinite, they're like, yeah, except for 5, we're not even going to bother.
Yeah.
That's like shit.
But what I like, the thing about that though is that, like, first of all, the first thing that comes to mind is Bionic Commando 2009 multiplayer, because that was the last game I remember that, like, not the last game, rather, that was the first game I remember where, like, swing to sniping to midair snipe was like a thing that was super sick. And then of course Titanfall came and just like that was the end all be all, but there was an interesting discussion that was popping up because some people in the comments were describing how like playing Halo, the hammer was a very rarely situationally useful thing that would be like, you know, worthless most of the time, but in this particular instance, it's great to have it on you and experts could use it. But now by adding grappling, it changes it to something that's very useful because you have vectors of attack that you otherwise wouldn't have. The grappling is very limited. You don't have infinite grapple, but it turns the whole setup into a viable one, but it's one that departs from what Halo is and becomes more Titanfall, essentially. You know, so there's a discussion about like, yeah, it's cool and yeah, it's fun, but is this what you want in your pure Halo multiplayer experience? And I'm like, I don't know. Give me the fucking grapple hammer snipe shit. I want that.
You're never going to get a pure multiplayer, a Halo multiplayer experience because like I remember watching footage of people like reaction stuff of people to the Infinite reveal, and like the instant that a sprint button got hit, like people just immediately were like, "Fuck it, I don't care anymore."
Oh, and I liked it so much playing the campaign of Reach. I really Reach. Yeah, the sprint in Reach. I was like, this feels great. I really enjoyed it.
I can completely understand why people don't like sprint in those games, even though sprint is a fun button to hit. It does, particularly in multiplayer, make it so that you need to adjust map sizes for faster movement, and then that changes like the shape of the way maps work in a way that I personally don't feel strongly one way or the other. But if you really like that old Halo classic map feel, then yeah, it's a total bummer.
Although, just out of curiosity, doesn't the fact that vehicles exist that are always faster than you on foot?
No.
Then
because indoor maps and whatnot.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I unfortunately just I can't say I don't know enough about that, but I feel as if you know, if there is shit that's faster than you that you can mount and hop on and then ride that in the battle, then you know, then it wouldn't be too bad. But I guess there's areas where it's on foot only. All right, well.
I'm interested in checking that out once it finally comes out, and then playing on it and being like, "Wow, I guess I like Halo," and I guess this is what I've been missing the whole time. Man, Halo really was good all along, and just having people in the background just be like, "No, but it's."
Yeah, I mean, you know, that clip got my attention, and if it didn't have what it had, then it wouldn't get my attention. So, as someone who doesn't have the full attachment, and from going through all the Halo games now, I've done very little to almost none of the multiplayer. Like, I've only had a lore attachment, you know, made.
Well, competitive multiplayer, you've played through all the campaigns in co-op, right?
Yes, but I mean, I mean competitive multiplayer. Like, I've only got like memories of playing it back in the day with like, you know, nephews and shit, and then like the couple of matches we did that 1 or 2 days on the stream. But that's a whole side of the game that's, you know, very very important and you know, I'm the kind of person that feels like, even if it affects the balance in a way, if it feels cool, I like the idea of a sprint, I think you should design around it. You know? Make the thing that feels cool be there, and then design around it is what I would want the multiplayer adaptations of these things to look like. You know? There's a jetpack. There's a fucking shield. There's all these cool abilities that are...
Well, I have a question for you, and I'm going to use the word sprint specifically, because I want to try and, like, engage you emotionally more than logically. Would you feel the same way if we were literally just talking about Street Fighter?
Okay.
And saying there's no dashes anymore, it's all sprinting.
That turns it into KOF. That changes a lot of what Street Fighter is. But Street Fighter EX exists. And
I think that, okay, good. That's the exact point I'm making.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like because I can understand why people look at that and go
Yeah.
but that's not Halo.
But also picking an SNK groove in CVS2, you could feel a little bit of what it would be like to play Street Fighter with a run. You know?
It was weird.
It is,
like,
but
it was bizarre.
But it's not. But it doesn't shut the whole showdown for me. You know, it's a change that is like, okay, if you're doing that and that's a deliberate thing, then let's see how we build around this idea. You know, if we're willing to. And of course, every Street Fighter that departs from every Street Fighter that departs from whatever it was before is going to be complained about, and then the last game that everyone hated is going to be loved. When Street Fighter 6 comes out, everyone's going to talk about how great 5 was, in the same way that everyone's going to talk about how great 4 was, even though they hated it compared to 3.
How great 2 was.
It is an unending series of...
Well, no, it ends there. Nobody was sitting around talking about how great 1 was.
No, but the versions ST into Champ and all that shit.
I'm fascinated by Halo Infinite because I've never gotten more warning signs that a game is going to be a mess for a big budget thing than this. Like the delay after delay after delay to like their campaign and multiplayer shipping like 6 months to a year apart. And stuff like that, and 343 is making it like, oh man.
Last thing on the run is, if it's something that you can choose to have access to as like a kit loadout thing. For example, Exism didn't have air blocking in Alpha 3.
Yeah, that felt busted.
But if you want to do that, if you want to give different loadouts to characters and choose what you like the feel of, so you want that dash, fine, you can have it. Then that's another way of approaching it too, you know?
They did that already. That was in Reach. You could pick sprint, or you could pick stuff like armor lock.
Yeah,
or
that's
some of the
jetpack. That's what that's what I was making reference to. Yeah. You absolutely you replaced your sprint with other abilities, and like I remember I'd be like, there's a lot of cool ones, and I loved armor lock because the animation is fucking sick and you can tank a hit and it's super cool. But yeah, I'd love running back to sprint. It just feels nice, you know. Anyway, that's that with balancing.